The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. Repent, renew, reclaim. And now your host, Allison Jordan.
Hi, good evening, Brain Joes. Hi, Brain Joes. Welcome to another episode of The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. I got my brain, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Bendy. Remember how Bendy used to bite this up? But Bendy's a mommy now, and I'm going to talk about it a little later when I get Dr. Gettings in here. But welcome to episode 220 of The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan on the Brain Truth Radio, an iHeart radio station. Find us on YouTube, and remember, please go to our YouTube channel at The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan on YouTube and subscribe. We need more subscribers, right? You can find us on Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podbean, Google Podcasts, TuneIt, Player FM, Amazon Music, Listen Notes, and anywhere you can listen to your podcast. And of course, right here at www.thebraintruth.com, live every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard. Also, you can catch me every Sunday, noon to 4 p.m. Central Standard on the AC Green Show on 106.3 FM, Chicago's #1 station for R&B. And if you want your business featured here on the Brain Rain Spotlight or on the AC Green Show, email us at acandallymessages@gmail.com. That's acandallymessages@gmail.com. Okay. Now, we also, again, are an Amazon affiliate, and we still need you all to shop with us. Shop with us. Go to thebraintruth.com. Y'all be on Amazon, right? So if y'all on Amazon, shop with The Brain Truth so we can make some money. So just go to thebraintruth.com and click on our official Amazon affiliate icon. Now, also, traffic control. Remember, every hour on the hour, we're going to take a pause. What is traffic control? Traffic control is when you stop and you pause, right? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, every hour, and take that cleansing breath. Take that opportunity, right, to recalibrate, to rethink, where am I right now? How am I doing right here and right here? And just stop and proceed with beauty and love. So traffic control, even if we're in the middle of a very deep conversation, we're gonna stop on the hour for traffic control, okay? Now, also remember, guys, my brain jokes, to keep your pen and paper. You gotta keep that pen and paper because I don't want to have to explain stuff. Y'all be calling me after the show or emailing me or texting me. What did you say? What was that number? So screenshot and then write down, because we always provide a lot of incredible information every week. So get your pen and paper out. Okay. Thank y'all. So our sponsors, if you want to be a sponsor, go to www.thebraintruth.com. And of course, we need sponsors. We're hurting, you guys, at The Brain Truth. We need sponsors. So please, if you have it in your heart or you know someone who wants to sponsor the work that we do here, please go to our website and click the sponsor tab, or you can always Cash App us at # The Brain Truth. That's Cash App, # The Brain Truth. There we go. Okay. Let's start with our Brain Buzz breaking news. Rapper and hip-hop executive Master P has shared the heartbreaking news that his daughter, Tayani Miller, died at 29. The music mogul, whose real name is Percy Miller, wrote in an Instagram post on Monday that his family is dealing with an overwhelming grief over the loss of his daughter. We respectfully request some privacy so that our family can grieve, he wrote. We appreciate all of the prayers, love, and support. Mental illness and substance abuse is the real issue that we can't be afraid to talk about. With God, we will get through this. #myangel. Bridgerton star Ruby Barker has posted a revealing video message to fans on social media, explaining that she is currently in a psychiatric hospital dealing with mental struggles. Fans have rushed to support Barker on social media after the actress who plays Marina Thompson on the hit Netflix period drama captioned the post, Mental Health Week is every week for me. Off my chest, I feel like I've not been completely honest, so this is for my followers. Time to be transparent. I've been struggling since Bridgerton. This is the truth. Thank you all for supporting me. Your love holds me up. Hashtag mental health awareness. And so far, 10 US states are allowing student mental health days. I said that student mental health days. Historically, most schools haven't recognized mental health as a legitimate reason to miss classes, but this position is slowly changing as more and more children are struggling with psychological issues that are impacting their ability to show up to school as their best selves in the same way as physical illness would. And that's today's Brain Bus breaking news. Let's get to the brain bit. As you know, laughter is our best medicine. So every week we start with the brain bit so we can get our little laughter on. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Why did the brain go running? Why did the brain go running? Do 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 do. It wanted to jog its memory. Get it? Oh, well. Okay. I guess that wasn't too funny. That was from Lisa Wells from Oak Park, Chicago. What happened to my laughter? If you want to send in a brain bit, we really need some funnier ones. Send it to us on Facebook or Instagram at The Brain Truth. Okay, so let's get to our topic today. Our topic is something that I really am excited to talk about because I was diagnosed with social anxiety. And I'm so excited that we're going to talk about it. And we have like a really incredible guest today. I mean, she's like a bad mama jamma. Like, I can't wait to bring her on. I have been dying to meet her. I'm like a stalker. I follow her. I creepy follow her from all my different pages. She's dope as heck. So today it's about social anxiety to social butterfly. And I know we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff that she's got going on. So I want to bring on Erica J. Kendrick. Okay. She is an acclaimed writer, a national speaker, and a mental fitness expert. She earned a psychology degree from Stanford University and MBA from the University of Illinois Chicago. She's smart, y'all. Erica was an NBA cheerleader for the Chicago Bulls before writing her novel. I have a girlfriend who is a what's her name? Kim Keller. I wonder if she knows Kim Keller, Tyler Keller. I know she changed her name. Erica also, Confessions of a Rookie Cheerleader from Random House. She also is one of her novels. And she is currently touring her debut middle grade novel, Squad Goals. I saw that with Little Brown Books for young readers. The spinoff Cookie Monsters is set for a summer 2022 release. I guess it's going to be released now. We got to get into that. After battling her brain pain, Erica founded Mental Fitness for Life, where she launched her latest mental fitness book tour. Who Moved My Happy? That's the bomb. While talking to audiences of all backgrounds and ages, Erica shares her story of brain pain and inspires hope by creating safe spaces for life saving lives. She has presented and guest lectured at colleges and universities, as well as the U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force, national sororities, fraternities, middle and high schools, conferences, retreats, and national organizations, large and small. Erica has toured with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and is a speaker with the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I'm on the board of that, where she has been inducted into their Hall of Fame. Erica is a recipient of several Who's Who honors, a Rising Icon honor, and several awards of excellence. Erica has taken the stage for TEDx, appeared on Good Morning America, the Third Hour GMA3, NBC News, CBS News, The Wendy Williams Experience, national television and radio segments. I told y'all she was bad. I got to take a break reading this. Oh, this bio is off the chain. Okay, and a host of other media outlets. She has been featured in several publications, including Page Six of the New York Post, the Huffington Post, the Chicago Tribune, and various other magazines and digital media. Come on in here, Erica. Hi, Erica. I am so honored to meet you. Oh my goodness.
You are hilarious. I am here for all of that,
Are you
Allison.
here? I'm here
All
for
of
you
that.
too, girl. I have been following you. I who moved my happy. And then you know what? When I read your bio and I saw brain pain, what a great way. I'm starting to use that, honey. I'm gonna start using that brain pain,
That's right.
because um there's a story when, I spent 19 days in a psychiatric hospital back in
Mm-hmm.
2020. And I
Mm-hmm.
came out and I started telling my story everywhere, honey. I was no shame in my game. God
That's right.
assigned me, God used me, and I'm telling everybody. And this
That's right.
woman had inboxed me on Facebook and was like, I wouldn't be out there telling people like, about all my business and my brain, whatever. And I said, you told me that you broke
Wow.
your ankle and you had pain in your ankle, right? My brain broke. I
Period.
have brain pain, period.
Period.
So when I read that in your bio, brain pain, let's just say call a thing, right?
A thing.
So tell me, you've done so much stuff. Do you also believe that you were called and this assignment?
Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
what
There's no
happened?
other reason that I'm here. I shouldn't be here. Technically, I shouldn't be here, but by the grace of God to do this work, I'm here. And I remember being in church, and people would be praying over me, and I used to ask God, like, why? Like, why is this happening to me? Because I knew it was very real. All the naysayers, girl, it's just in your head. Shake it off, or just pray it to Jesus.
Pray
He'll
it
take it
out. Yes.
away,
Pray it
or
away.
pray it away. Or you need a good meal. Come on over, let me cook for you. Or girl, you just need to sleep it off. Or, I mean, I've heard it all. You have no idea. But I
Yeah.
knew it was real even before I understood it, and I would just ask why. All these years later, it's so crystal clear as to why. And I hear that voice every once in a while say, remember when you asked why? Okay,
Yep. Here's
here's
your
your
why.
here's your next step. Here's the next, like, service I need you to do, or here's where you need to be obedient next in this calling. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I understand you 1,000%.
Girl, when I was in the hospital, I was missing 9 days. Like the psychiatrist was like, and I say this like it's on repeat, y'all. I know I say it a lot, but he was like, oh, I said something like, "What? Hey," and he goes, "Oh, so you ready to talk today?" And I go, "I've never met you a day in my life." Or I was going around the whole hospital saying I ain't never seen no psychiatrist. I put like complaints in the little suggestion box, like I ain't seen nobody, ain't nobody come talk to me. He's like, I've been talking to you every day for nine
Every day, nine
days.
days. Mm-hmm.
And I went to my room and I said, God, if you get me out of here, I will dedicate my life to mental illness and mental
Mm-hmm.
health. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it ever since I came out of that hospital. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
deep because once you're transparent, right,
Mm-hmm.
to everybody in your family, and tell me if this
Yep.
happens to you, that, I have a mental illness, I'm diagnosed as this. Hey, do people almost kind of every time you're like doing something normal, like if you want to say something to somebody or give them a piece of your mind, not in a mean way,
Mm-hmm.
it's like there
Right,
she
right,
goes,
right.
there's that.
Right, right,
Is
right.
everything now because of your mental illness connected to it, even though we're on the other side? You understand what I'm saying? It's like, and
Absolutely.
girl, I went out
Yes.
to dinner with my
Yes.
family, and they were talking to me. I'm sorry, I'm telling it like it is, but not my family, but somebody that was at the dinner, like, do you want to order something from the menu? I was like, I can understand English, I can hear, uh, because we're in a room where we got the help, but
Right.
we're in a room with everybody else who didn't get it, honey, or
Right.
who's not coming clean with
Right.
it, or just
Right. Right.
didn't
Right.
navigate to where we are. So we're probably the best person in the room.
Period.
So do you find that because you're like on the big, I'm trying to get to the stage. I'm backstage waiting for you to bring me on your stage because you're out there. You're out there. And so is that it's a stigma within a stigma, almost like you're out there
So
doing this, and then everybody around you is sort of like, you know,
so it was when I started. So
yeah,
now, so it's very interesting because I say to every audience I'm in front of, stigma stupid. Fight me. Fight me.
right.
Stigma is stupid. And you started out by saying something that I say everywhere. I write it in my workbooks, I say it on stages, I say it during interviews. And that's essentially that the brain is an organ. Like if your heart was messed up, you would
Right.
take heart medication. You'd go to the
That
heart
part.
specialist. Your heart is an organ. Okay, the same thing with your kidneys. You're going to dialysis. You're going to the kidney specialist. You're going to take care of that right away. And then to make it like, so much smaller so that everybody can understand, like if something happened to your tooth, like late night, you're getting an emergency appointment. You're gonna be in that dental chair the next morning. Okay, my brain just got sick. Like your heart can get sick,
Exactly.
your kidney can get sick. My brain got sick. So how is that something to be ashamed of, right? Like I understood how people would look at me, but I gave them the middle finger, to be very honest with you.
Boom.
And I was like, I got to get better because there's a calling on my life and I
Yes,
know it. I don't know what that looks like yet, but fast forward 15, 18, 20 years later, I'm very much walking in my God-driven purpose.
that's
So
right.
with stigma, it wasn't really an issue for me. And I know that I'm an anomaly. Like I don't profess to say that like everybody who comes out on the other side of this feels that way because some
Right.
people act like it never happened and to each his own. However, for me, the idea that other kids who are black, brown, whatever, come from my neighborhood, come from the south side of Chicago, whatever, went to my school, went to college, whatever, can look at me and say, oh my God, she's okay.
Yep.
So it can get greater later. And
I
right
like
now
that. It
where I
can
am,
get
it
greater
can
later.
get greater later. And right
Yep.
now it's perfectly okay for me to not be okay.
Yes.
What? I thought I was supposed to always be okay by
Yes.
way of being black or by way of being a woman or by way of being, from the hood and having to scramble to get out of that situation and make something of my like I have to always be no, you don't. It's perfectly okay to not be okay. So
That's
that's
right.
kind of been the realm within which I operate. And I don't let anything interfere with that. Like if you're not rocking with me, beat it. Like that's okay.
I
You're
love
taking
that.
up
You ain't
space.
rocking with me. Beat it. That's right. I
You
see you,
you're
Ronnie.
right.
I see you guys. I see you, Brain Joes. Hey,
Good
Ronnie. Good
evening.
evening.
Oh,
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Sharice. I see everybody. Welcome to the show tonight, my Brain Joes. Also, you guys, we got a really cool guest. If you guys want to call in tonight, I know we don't necessarily always have time for you guys to call in. So call in at 708-545-2446. Call in Jenny. Call in any of the Brain Joes watching or listening in, and let's talk to the superstar Erica. So tell me, before I get in my brain gang, people, when did it all start? What happened? Where did before the moving of the happy, where did all
ooh,
that? Give me that. Give me that.
woo. Okay, so I'll give you an abbreviated version.
Okay.
So I was that kid who was the superstar everywhere I went. Like I only did things I was great at. Like I learned that early in life. So I was always the superstar. Like I would never enter a math competition, but I could spell my little butt off, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
was that kid. So I got straight A's. I was in all the activities. I was in dancing and drama. I had an agent. I was doing commercials. I was the Girl Scout cookie queen. I sold, more scout cookies than any scout in the
Okay.
Chicagoland area,
You're an
right? Like I was
overachiever. You show
that
up, you
so
know the
so
assignment.
like no, like my picture's in the book, like for overachiever, like
Okay.
me at the age of like 9, like that's that. All right, so fast forward to high school. Well, in the third grade, I jumped out of the classroom window, which was on the second floor, and when I
Wait a
had to
minute.
go
You
to the
jumped
principal,
out the window.
I jumped out the window in the third grade, Sister Joyce's second story classroom window. And I was in the principal's office and she was, what made you do that? Why would you do that? And all I would say is, I just wanted to go to recess. I was in detention. I wanted to go to recess. The truth is that I heard a voice in my head tell me to jump out
To
of the
jump.
window.
Wow.
A very sassy, very insistent voice telling me to do this. But I knew better than to share that because I knew what they did to people who talk like that, even at 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old. Fast forward to high school, I was experiencing significant depression. I was crying all the time. I couldn't get out of bed. I missed more days of school than any student in the entire school. For those of y'all who are in the Chicagoland area, I went to St. Ignatius College Prep.
Well, I know St. Ignatius. Okay. I went to
Mhm.
Aquinas.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Same like Catholic
Right.
district, that little school, the school. So my freshman year, the staff and faculty named me freshman of the year. And like it was a big honor because I was a black girl from the hood, like getting this big honor in this elite prep school. My senior
Okay.
year, I was
Right.
senior class president. I was on the dance team and the cheer team, but I missed more days of school than anybody. Also, I would wake up in the morning crying, feeling helpless and hopeless. And my mom would say to me, instead of saying like it's time for school, she'd say, "Are we going to school today?" Like that's how severe it had gotten with me not going to school because I felt this overwhelming like need to kill myself.
Mm.
Um, my freshman year at Stanford, I tried. I tried to drive my car off a cliff on
So,
top of
okay,
one of the
wait
mountains.
1 second. Hold on. So all this time from 8-year-old to high school, you never shared this with anybody,
No.
but the school was seeing you jumping out of windows and doing, and nobody ever said something's a little off when you talk to your family or how, so this
Okay,
where
so
all those
I'm old. So I'm old. Today that wouldn't happen. Today, well, I shouldn't even say that because I'm in
girl,
new
yeah,
school
it's still gonna
districts and
happen. You see,
they are, yeah,
only
yeah,
10
yeah,
out
yeah,
of the 50
yeah,
states are even
yeah.
giving mental health days off. So it's gonna still
I
happen,
had to
honey.
catch myself. I had to, no, you're right, Allison. I had to catch myself because they
Let's
are
that's why
under
we doing what
resourced.
we doing.
Right, right. You know, you're absolutely right. They're under resourced. But some schools, because I'm also in a lot of elite districts,
Yeah,
doing presentations and workshops, and these kids have life coaches at the age of 8. Okay, so it's a vast dichotomy between the demographics that we're talking about.
right.
So in my school, it was a long time ago, honey. And basically,
What we
basically,
saying you dig it? What we saying
right,
you
you
dig and
did, right,
jive
you did,
turkey?
right, right.
Okay, I get it. Everything, like my son, you say everything was in black and white,
Ah,
mama. Right.
well, I remember. Well, anyway, so the truth is that they just said that I was, because I was an A+ student, so they just said I wasn't challenged and I was
Okay.
bored. Now the gag is that my mom is a therapist, and so what she did is she put me in therapy at 8
Okay.
to deal with my eccentric behavior, very
Oh,
eccentric. It was
yeah.
always
Like I was put in a
very
special
eccentric.
classroom for those that
Yeah.
excelled because I
See, I
wasn't
mean it.
talking for years.
Now,
Mm.
in certain parts of the country, that would get the attention that it needs. In other parts,
Exactly.
you'd still be put in that classroom, unfortunately. But I do want to caveat and say that we are making a lot of progress. I don't want it to look like it's all bleak all the time everywhere.
Right.
That's just not the case. But anyway,
Yeah.
so by the time I got to college, because I kept my head down, I was always in therapy, but I never shared
That's
that
a
I had
long
these
journey.
feelings
I
of
mean, you're saying this
very,
really fast. That's a long
yes,
ASSS time to be
yes,
struggling, Miss
yes,
Erica. But go on.
quietly,
We're in
quietly.
college,
Quietly, not
quietly.
saying anything to
Woo!
anyone about my stuff.
Wow.
Sometimes when I tour, I bring my mother with me, depending on how long the flight is, and she'll share from her perspective, and it gets really real really fast because she has all
Okay.
this guilt, especially
Of
since she was a
course.
therapist. But anyway, so my freshman year, I tried to end my life by driving my little Toyota Corolla off a cliff,
Mm.
and that's when she came out, brought me back to Chicago, and I was given my first diagnosis, which was severe acute depression, and then with some psychosis because they kept saying, "What would make you do that?" And I wouldn't say the voice in my head told me to. All I would say is that it was something bigger than me.
Mhm.
I stayed out for, I think, 2 quarters, and then I made it up during the summer. And then I went back and I struggled again. At that point, I had more resources on campus. However, I had to stop out every winter quarter. They said I had seasonal affective disorder, and I was like, "No, not really. I feel this way all the time, but we'll
Okay.
we'll ride with that."
Every season.
So
Wow.
every season
Mm.
is hard AF. But every summer I would go to Loyola or DePaul and make up what I missed out so I could graduate on time. I graduated with my class, but at 24, I walked into a gunfight on 93rd and Cottage outside of the liquor store and tried to end my life again. This time they diagnosed
By
me with,
getting inside the gunfight and
mhm,
hopefully you'll get
mhm.
shot.
I did. I did get shot. I got shot in the back of my thigh. I have bullet wounds just a few inches away from a major artery. They said that could have been, life ending. And I was laying in the hospital bed like, damn. But, my mom and dad were like, oh, thank God. Thank you so. And I was just like,
Like, dang, I keep
um,
messing up.
right, 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 right. Not,
Right.
not
The
understanding that there's a
overachiever,
calling.
the
Right, right, right,
overachiever.
right. Like, why
I
can't I
mean,
just
you
do
don't
right?
fail. That's when you know that's an assignment, baby.
It's an assignment.
That's it.
It's an assignment.
Mm.
So I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder then, and then I was shortly thereafter in a jewel by South Commons where I was living at the time, and I used to smoke a lot of weed way before it was legal to cope, and that numbing, that escape, actually allowed me to feel normal. When all the
Wow.
signs and symptoms of being high, I didn't have those. Those were my normal experiences, like extreme paranoia. I was always paranoid. I always thought people were trying to kill me. or like the munchies, or like I never had an appetite. I couldn't eat unless I was smoking. I couldn't sleep ever. I never slept. I'd be up all the time. And then when I would smoke, I could get a couple of hours of sleep. And so they gave me all these drugs to combat my psych issues, but none of them helped for me. The side effects were way worse than I already
Right.
felt. So I self-medicated with a lot of alcohol and a lot of marijuana. And so as a result, one day I was in the Jewel, and my munchies of choice was cereal. So I was walking down the cereal aisle talking to my homies like, "What's up, Count Chocula? Hey,
Okay.
Tony the Tiger. What up, Trix Rabbit?" And so, as
Okay.
corny as that is, they morphed off the cereal boxes and swarmed around my head talking to each other, and then they turned and they all started talking to me.
Mhm.
And I had my first panic anxiety attack in the middle of the cereal aisle. And I was forced at that point to explain what was going on with me. And so then I
Yeah.
was diagnosed with psychosis, which they thought could be early onset schizophrenia. Fast forward, it wasn't. It was just like I couldn't function without marijuana. And so
Yeah.
um, that was my truth, and it took a lot of years to accept it for what it was. I attempted to end my life again, but then I went back into the psych ward under suicide watch, and I told the psychiatrist, I was like, "You'll never see me again. Like
Mm.
this is
Oh,
that
I just
point
got
for me."
chills. Oh, I just got chills when you said that.
And I meant it
Oh,
too. I meant it, and I spent about 12 years figuring out how to fit the circle of me into the square of life, because I
yes.
wasn't like anyone else I knew. And it was a
Yeah.
long journey, but I had to do a lot of it alone because the medication never worked for me. So I could never
Mm.
get balance to then start to cope and understand. And I was scrambling to survive. And then I like to say, at this stage of my life where I am on medication and I am fully aware and I have a whole mental fitness plan that's delicious, now I'm thriving and not struggling to
Yes.
survive.
What girl? Oh, I got chills when you say you'll never did he ever so you never that was it. You never went back.
That was it. And he was
Wow.
the same psychiatrist that I'd seen the first time I was in Michael Reese. And he's the doctor and his team who told my parents that I would never amount to anything in life and to keep my childhood bedroom ready because I'd pretty much be a vegetable. He was white.
Whoa.
His whole team was white. That's why the work that you do, the work that I do, it matters for kids or folks or people that look like us and talk like us and
Exactly.
walk like us to see that,
Exactly.
oh, whoa, 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 this is not a
Don't write us off.
life-ending diagnosis. Like this is a stop in the road.
Mhm.
And with the proper intervention and resources, again, it can get greater later. I am here as a
You are
testimony of that.
definitely a testimony. I want to bring Dr. Gettings in here before we stop for traffic control in 2 minutes because I'm going to be bringing in my brain gang to join this conversation. But get on in here right now, Dr. Gettings, because you're responsible for getting a superstar here today. Hey, Dr. Gettings.
Hey everybody. Hey Erica.
Hey,
Girl,
Dr.
there's your
Getty.
girlfriend.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Gettings told me about you. I don't even know. Show number one, number two. We on show number 35, and we just had to find the right time. And really, it was just all about you today. We typically have like 933 guests, and today, we Dr. Gettings like, no, we just gonna do Erica. She has a lot to talk about. We want to get into your book, all the things that you're doing. But Dr. Gettings, you've been sitting back here. I'm sure you knew her story, but what are your thoughts on how easy, how we just talk about it. That's what we own, this Black girl magic, this brown girl, sauce here is that
Yes.
we are literally just talking about our mental illness. Like we talking about, oh, girl, I like your hair. Ooh, we got the same color brain. Oh my God, I like your backdrop. That's what it's about. So Dr. Gettings, what
Absolutely.
you think?
I think it should be that seamless, that easy, rolling off the tongue, just like you went through all the examples, Erica, of other organ systems that may not be functioning well. And we talk about it and talk about our treatment with no problem and no concerns about any stigma. Historically, when it comes to brain health, we seem to assign a lot of times shame, and there's this element that there's some locus of control that we should have. Whereas we look at other organ systems like the heart, the kidneys, and it's like, oh, well,
Stopping for break. 1 second, recalibrate. Traffic control. Okay. You do that every hour, it becomes a habit.
I love
Yes.
it.
All right, let's go.
Yes. So it's so important for us to understand that we are multi systemic beings and all of our systems work together. So whether we're talking about the cardiovascular system, your pulmonary system, your central nervous system, when it comes to the brain, we kind of get fuzzy. And when you start saying things like, oh, let me cook you a good meal, girl, just go to bed. You don't say that to someone having a heart arrhythmia.
Right.
You don't say,
Right.
Exactly.
okay. And so it's this historical notion that there are things in our central nervous system that are autonomic, and then there are things that are within our control, which is true, which is why it's such a unique system. But we lose sight, I think, a lot of the times of what symptoms of brain illness look like. Like, for instance, and I've said it before, if a person has a seizure or if a person has had a stroke and they can't walk across the room, we don't say to them, well, let's just lay hands, pray. No, we understand
Girl,
you lost
they was
blood.
trying to pray it out of me. I couldn't even wash my butthole. Like, listen to me. It has nothing to do with faith. It has nothing to do with we don't have God in our hearts. Tell them, Dr. Gettings,
I mean,
what's
I
going
feel like
on?
prayer always is going to have its role. We're not talking about not praying, but when you pray for someone who has had a stroke, do you also tell them to not take their Coumadin so that they don't have another clot? No, that's not what you do. You pray for them, you have faith in their healing, and then you utilize the tools that are available to you to promote that healing process. So the two work together, and you need to apply that same approach when it comes to brain health. The part that you said, which I think is so important when you talk about psychosis or hearing voices, and when people say that, it's so quick for us to assign that to some spiritual entity or what we like to call as evil. Well, let's just be real. When your brain is not functioning well, there are all types of stimuli and perceptual abnormalities that you can have. So there's a lack of knowledge about what a sick brain looks like. We may know that a brain that has had a stroke and you're paralyzed, that's a sign that your brain may not be working as well. But why don't we see it as the same way if someone says, I just heard a voice to tell me to jump out of this window? You know, and how many brain scans did you get? What full medical workup did you get? You know, all of these things we're lacking as it relates to understanding our brain function. And so we just kind of slap these our own beliefs onto it for lack of knowledge. And a lot of times that's why we don't get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Gettings, move my happy. What
Yes.
the heck? I want to know. Move my happy. Where did that come from? Why? What is it?
So, Who Moved My Happy is that was directed at me, right, Allison?
Yeah.
Or Dr. Getty? Me, okay. So
Dr. Gettings, that's all she kept talking about. Was like, move her happy. She didn't move her happy. She didn't move her happy. She didn't move her happy. And then you got to go on there. And then you got to follow her. And then and I was like, and I was like, yes. So I want people to know about it because, you know, it's
okay.
It really it sort of captures everything in a movement. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So Who Moved My Happy started out of necessity, to be honest.
Okay.
You read it in my bio. I was a speaker for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And so I'd done a California coast tour all from San Francisco down to San Diego, everywhere in between. And it was for thousands of folks, and they were mostly white audiences. And I would post it on social because I was very proud of the work that I was doing. Again, there's no stigma for me,
Right.
And I wanted to share with folks that, hey, this thing is real. And, here's some of my story. This is what I'm doing about it. And what I kept getting was from folks in Chicago, Black folks saying, yeah, that's cute and everything, but what about us? And I was like,
Right.
well, what you mean? Then they was like, we're ready for this conversation too. And I was like, no, you're not. because I would love to do this work within the community. But when I came home and put a program together, I was wrong. People were ready. Now, not as many people as today. I've been
Of
doing this work
course.
for some years now, but there was an audience for me, and I was so happy to have been wrong in that moment. And so essentially I named it Who Moved My Happy. And I would give these free events for the community, and I would have panels of experts that look like us, and that's how I got to know Dr. Getting. Someone said, if you're going to do this work, you need to know this Black woman. She is fabulous.
Okay.
She's phenomenal. And I was like,
That's when she had
give
that
me
afro too.
everybody. She was bad. I mean, she was bad, bad.
I had my
And
set it off phrase then.
she
Oh, you had
wasn't
to set it
playing.
off
She wasn't
right.
playing. She wasn't playing. When I met her, she walked in. She was fine. She was fit. She was fine.
Okay.
I was like, what? Like, we doing it like this now? Okay, it wasn't like
Yes.
that when I was suffering, right?
Yeah.
So I immediately fell in love with her and this other woman, Dr. Mahone, who was also referred to me. They were like, you have to at least connect with them and let them know you're doing this work. Anyway, so I'd have them on panels, and then I'd have someone from NAMI to sponsor it with pamphlets and brochures and resources and all that good stuff. And then I'd have one or two folks with lived experience. And so people could get educated. They could also get entertained, because when I do my story, it's also really, really funny, because I can't make this shit up. It's like, it just is what it is. And so people were like, oh my God, now I have questions. So they got to ask the experts. And it was a phenomenal program. But then slowly but surely, I started getting booked for Black audiences, which was mind blowing. And so I was like, I'm going to have a little pamphlet I'll leave behind. And that turned into my
Love it.
workbook, which is clearly not a pamphlet that sells out
Right.
everywhere and by the same name. And so it supplements the tour when I do things. Especially when I go to schools or to the military, they always buy, hundreds and hundreds of workbooks, and then we get to do workshops
Wow.
with the books when I'm on site. So it turned into something much
Wow.
bigger than I anticipated. And I haven't stopped touring for about 7 years now. Right
Wow.
now, after Alana Miller down at Southern University, the cheerleader who ended her life by
Yeah.
suicide, she sparked something in me to get back on the road and do a Black college tour. So we're
Yes.
building that out now. I wanted to get 10 schools on board. I had a big meeting with Jackson State today that was phenomenal. It was actually our second meeting. So I've got about 7 schools that are in conversation. And
Amazing.
yeah, and it just happened like in 2 weeks. I started reaching out, and everything just started falling. Anyway, the point is that there was a need for this, and I
Yes.
didn't think that we were ready, but I was so wrong. And the only way we can get ready is if we we move the needle, shift the story, and get us ready. And so that's how everything just kind of happened. And now everything I do, in one way or another, is associated with Who Moved My Happy, one way or another.
Freaking believable. Dr. Gettings, my goodness. I mean, when I started off doing what I'm doing, like, and they'll tell you, I want to quit like all the time. And I'm so blessed to have people like Dr. Gettings and my team, because I'm about to bring in the other parts of my brain gang. So my brain gang, I don't know if you know any of the history. When I did my first show, I really just did it because it was an assignment. I didn't know the navigation. I just said, okay, do this show. And the show came by an accident. I was covering for somebody at iHeart. It's a whole bunch of stuff, right? And then after I spoke my truth, like we doing now, I got all these emails. The next morning I woke up to like flooded. People telling me like I was sodomized by my father. I, witnessed somebody this and all this stuff. And I'm reading it. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to exploit these stories. I really want to be an influencer and help these people get help in my story. So that's where the brain game came about, because my journey took on a manifestation of mind, body, and soul. I went to therapy. I had a psychiatrist. I had a spiritualist or spiritual advisor who's coming on, a nutritionist, all that stuff. And I'm off of not only, and I don't advocate not being on medication, please, but I'm not on meds. And not only am I not on meds, Erica, they couldn't even find my heart condition that I had most of my life. And I'm off blood pressure medicine because I started to learn gratitude and mindfulness and love and forgiveness. And Dr. Ivy will tell you when she gets on here how that works and why. And then Andrew get on here and talk about why the things that you eat work, because I'm living testament. And all I'm trying to do in my life is
Oh my
who move
God.
my happy. There we go.
It's
And I
all
want to
in
see
there.
how we go. I
That's
want to
it.
get on your, I want to hold your purse backstage. I want to be with you just in the background because
Oh my
I just want to
God.
be, I want to be your groupie. That's all I
Can I
know.
say,
Oh my God.
Me and Dr. Gettings. What are you going to say?
when I first saw Erica speak, for me, as a mental health professional who works with people every day, and we're in a space where they're open and they're talking about their symptoms, and we're kind of really trying to iron things out. I had never seen anything like it. Erica came in the room and she, when I say captures an audience, but just being real. And I had never seen someone act out manic symptoms, but it's so needed. I mean, I just feel like her entire approach to normalizing the conversation, which is what I see it as, was just, it's so needed, was needed and is needed. And she was the first person that I ever saw do that, which is why when you took the lead on doing the brain truth and it was the similar energy, I was like, oh, you gotta meet Erica. Like,
Girl.
She's period. Okay. So
thank you, Dr. Gettings.
Thank you, Dr.
Allison,
Gettings.
I did want to say that in the workbook, like you just said, gratitude and then what we eat. Like so the workbook is what I call the Incredible 10, the mental fitness steps that anchor me in wellness. And so the first page is gratitude. The first page is gratitude, where they have to do an activity around that. And then like I think chapter 5 or 6 is clean eating. And there's a whole like shopping list in there, and it breaks down nutrition and why this matters for brain health. And then there's, you know, meditation, which I live by, but there's also therapy and a dope support squad and like all this stuff. But the
I
two
became
things
a
you just named
yogi.
from a homeopathic standpoint, like we got to get into
Girl,
that,
we need
right?
to talk offline.
We got to get into that. But for me, I will say, for those who are in need of meds and are nervous about it, that saved my life. It stopped me from having to struggle to survive to being able to really thrive. So I'm a person who will probably be on bipolar meds for the rest of my life. Right. And I look at it as taking a pill for my heart condition or my kidney condition or my toothache or whatever, you know. Well, it wouldn't be a long-term toothache. It better not be. I got insurance. Anyway, keep it moving. Go ahead, Allison.
All right, Dr. Ivy, get on in here because I know you've been backstage, and this is one of my mentor teachers who started the Sound Spa with Dr. Ivy.
Before you bring her in, I think we missed the disclaimer. We're going to run through that.
No, the disclaimer came on at the top of the show now. Okay. Dr. Gettings.
Okay. It's going off the messages.
Huh? What were you doing? Where was you at? Where you been?
Saying we missed the disclaimer. So,
No, you missed it. It's at the top now.
Okay.
It comes on at the beginning.
Okay.
If not, we're going to play it at the end just so we can make sure we cover ourselves. Yes. Come on in here, Dr. Ivy. And I think Angie's back there. Can we get Dr. Ivy? Hey, Dr. Ivy. So this is my mentor teacher, my everything. What have you been listening? What do you think about this dynamic woman? And then we're going to, once we get Angie in, now that we got to know Erica, we want to talk about social anxiety for 20 good minutes, because I was diagnosed with social anxiety. I don't know, were you ever have that same diagnosis, Erica? And I think a lot of people are I hope my whole family's watching, everybody I know, because social anxiety, it's not because we're not outgoing and all that, but we're gonna get into that. But what do you think about this woman, Dr. Ivy? Honey.
Well, I think she is fabulous.
Isn't she?
And the first thing that this is going to be kind of funny. It's a diversion, but when you see mental fitness, I have mentalfitness.com if you'd like it.
Okay. Are we selling domains up in here? Can we go 1, 3, 45, 45, 45, 55, 65? Okay, go on.
I bought it about 5 or 6 years ago, and I never used it. But anyway, that's the first thought I had, right? But
we're going to talk, Dr. Ivy. We're going to talk.
Right. The second thought that I had was how powerful when I see this young energy that is stepping forward and breaking through the barriers of stigma. because of the fact that so many people, particularly in the African American community, feel like, oh, if you have to go to therapy, they have put this awful stigma to it, that you're crazy or something's wrong with you. And I say that if you are a descendant of an enslaved African living anywhere in the diaspora, you have some mental health challenges, whether you know it or believe it or not.
Yeah.
Most of these symptoms that we have in our lives show up in ways that we think, oh, this is how it is. This is how life is. Then you look around and some other people may not have experienced that, but we don't see it as a health challenge. So I'm very excited to see this young woman sharing, and I wish I could see your whole background because it looks like the sun. And you see about this.
That's what it is. Who moved my happy?
So now what you're seeing is understanding how to reach for, grab, and absorb the pure raw light of the sun that actually brings healing, livelihood, and vivation into the cellular structure. So I don't know whether you saw it like that, but
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
that's what I
Yes,
see.
ma'am.
Yes.
I love it.
Angie, let's get you in here, Angie, and then we're going to play the disclaimer just because now I'm nervous. Hey, Angie.
I
All
heard
right,
it.
let's
Guys,
play
how
that
are you?
disclaimer before we
heard the
get into the
disclaimer.
conversation. Thank you.
Oh, I thought you did the disclaimer beautifully.
Thank you. The views, information, or opinions expressed are solely the views of the individuals involved. Opinions expressed by the hosts and guests can change at any time. The Brain Truth does not serve the purpose of providing medical treatment or therapy services, diagnosis, prevention, or cure for any physical, mental, or emotional issue, disease, or condition. As a member of our audience, you also agree that the Brain Truth does not assume liability for any physical, mental, or emotional issue, disease, or condition, or any other type of loss or damage due to any information shared on our broadcast. You are advised to refrain from watching or listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of our topics. Thank you, Dr. Gettings. So Angie, hey,
How
you
are
look
you
like
guys?
you're in a basement. You look dark. You look sexy. What's going on? You got
Do
your
I
lights
look
not cut
dark?
off?
No.
Your lights not cut off?
I mean, the lights are on.
So-
I mean, yeah.
So you were backstage. What do you think about Erica and her story?
Oh my goodness. I think, Erica, how are you? It's so nice to meet you. I read
You too.
everything about you earlier, actually, and I was so intrigued with everything that you've got going on and what you stand for and your mission.
Thank
I
you.
truly feel like, as you're sitting here talking, I feel like, okay, I come from a standpoint of being a mom at all times, and I'm looking at you like, baby girl, thank you for doing this for everybody. Like, this is, I wish my children had classmates that were just like you. We need more humans like you on this planet who are open and transparent and are saying, listen, this is how I feel. Because truly, when I was in grade school, and now that my children are in grade school, I say to them all the time, if you guys are feeling a certain way, other people are feeling that way as well.
Right.
Children especially always think that they're the only ones, they're alone on an island by themselves. They're in this big classroom with all of these kids and in this big world, but they're the only ones that feel like that. And it's like, oh my goodness. When my son, my 19-year-old son, just said to me the other day, you know, when I was little, I thought you knew everything, Mom. And I said to him, they have a breakthrough when they become around 20 years old and they realize we were just doing our best raising these babies.
That's right.
Everything, and we are babies raising babies, and now our babies are getting older, and now it's like they're helping us, and they realize, wow, she really doesn't know everything.
Exactly. Speaking of babies, I totally forgot, y'all. Bendy had her babies. Hello. So Erica, I have a little King Charles Cavalier, and I have a Pekingese. The Pekingese is an old man. We were, accepting the fact that he was just going to just be a priest or whatever he was going to do. And then poor Bendy one day was just switching through the house, and he decided to say, "Give me a little mama." And so and so now and then I just learned yesterday, years old, that dogs are pregnant for 63 days. Did you know that?
Wow.
Did anybody?
No.
I just learned that yesterday. Years old. So they're only pregnant for 63 days, and now I have 3 little babies. She gave birth last night. I literally had a panic attack. They come out like Dr. Gettys. Everybody else was telling me it was going to be this beautiful experience, and I was going to be chill. I had my wine, I had my music. I was going to watch a movie, and she was just going to do her thing. No, she started screaming, looking at me. The baby was falling out of her. I had to pull it out. But Dr. Getty say, honey, what'd you say? She was trying to tell me. I wasn't trying to listen to her. Like, whatever, lady, you are a psychiatrist, honey. I learned this from the veterinarian. She's like, I just have you to know that my very first C-section was on a pit bull.
Yes. I told her my first job as a teenager was at the Ashland Animal Hospital. And we saw a pit bull who came in active labor, and one of the babies had obstructed the birth canal. So we had to do, or I witnessed a C-section on a pit bull. So I told her, I said, are you sure you're ready? You sure you prepared for everything?
I wasn't ready. Yeah, I was driving around with her in the back with the baby, with my friend, screaming and hollering. I don't even know what I called my son to this day. He may need you, Dr. Geddes. You may have to process him. I was out of control. But what I do know, and I'm going to bring it on back because we got to talk about social anxiety, is that I watched an animal who was just 1 year old give birth, and instinctually, as an animal, ate the sack, cleaned her babies. The baby came out sucking. And that tells you, just as living beings, how we adapt and how we know how to stand up to whatever is given to us, whatever challenge, because she's a baby herself, you know? And so I was in awe, and me being anxiety, when I heard that she could die and the baby was stuck, I got down up in there, my anxiety and all, because I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to let my baby die during this, because she was struggling. And so we just want to get back to like how we stand up and step up to the call when it's our time, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, so that's what I'm a grandma. I got
congratulations.
If y'all want to buy a Piccalear, they're a designer dog, hit me up at thebravetruth.com. But anyway, social anxiety. Please, Dr. Gettys, what is social anxiety? What is it?
Okay, so social anxiety is a social anxiety disorder, okay, is a diagnosis that kind of falls under the umbrella of anxiety disorders. So there's generalized anxiety, we have PTSD, we have phobias. People who have social anxiety or social anxiety disorder oftentimes have a fear of being in certain social settings. And the two most common scenarios can be performing in a social setting and also social interaction. So a lot of times it's interesting, people will be surprised when a person, let's say, is a model or an actress or an athlete, right? And they can perform their butt off with no problem, but then they tell you that they have social anxiety. So when we look at how we interact with others and kind of what our brain perceives, a lot of it has to do with worrying about rejection, or as I've heard other clinicians refer to it as the fear of ego death in the case of performance, if people don't like your performance. I read somewhere that the two most common fears are the fear of dying and public speaking. So if you kind of look at those together, public speaking and being rejected by a large crowd, right, is a form of ego death and rejection. I, as a child psychiatrist, have worked with a ton of children and adults with social anxiety. It is one of the most commonly co-occurring conditions with depression and also alcohol abuse, because a lot of people who are socially anxious rely on those shots to get them comfortable so that they can interact. And so
really, I didn't know that.
Self-medicating with alcohol to relax you so that you can be more, capable, if you will.
Because see, I didn't do that. I just did avoidance.
Okay, and a lot of people do that.
When I would go to places and person with social anxiety, like when I was telling my family what I was diagnosed with, and they were like, no, you don't have no social anxiety, you this and that, you talk a lot, you on stage, you do this. But I said, remember, like every time I was at your house or at a party, you'll always find me in the kitchen. You'll always find me cooking. I'm always doing something. I'm never engaged. I'm never like where everybody's sitting in a dining room and they're all drinking and talking. It's like too many people in there. And then I don't know what they're talking about. I don't want to engage because I might say something stupid, or whatever. Yeah. So Erica, do you find that happens to you, or what? Because you're the same. You're on stage. You're on firecracker, this and that. When you say social anxiety, people are like, "Girl, bye." And
All the
that's what we want to
time.
talk about. What it means.
All the time. That is me to a T. That is me. And I'll do both. So the avoidance piece is me. So when I'm in situations where it's more intimate, not like a big gathering, like an event or something, I'm always where the kids are, right? Like I'm not in the kitchen with grandma, whoever cooking. I'm where the kids are. Wherever the kids are, you can find me. And I am so comfortable and so at ease, which is why I started writing kids' books, because touring, that way I don't have to talk to adult women. I'm talking to kids. And I wrote my favorite age is the age of the main character, because I knew that I would be in front of that age group mostly. And I'm so at home and at ease like that. So there is the avoidance with me, but the self-medicating, oh my God.
Wow.
I went to rehab in my 20s. Well, twice for smoking weed, but I would go to AA meetings in my 20s because I needed to understand, why is it that when I'm in social settings, I'm
Mhm.
wasted. Like what is, and I keep
Mm,
going until I feel like this numbness where I'm like, whew, okay, now I can go talk to whomever. And then I was making an ass of myself. And so I wanted to understand. So AA was like, chick, this is your problem. And then I was officially, they told me it was, whatever. But later I was officially diagnosed with it, and nobody believes it because I get on stage in front of thousands and do my thing, have the audience in tears or cracking up laughing or somewhere in the middle of
right.
that. And it's not an issue. Even the Q&A, I rock the Q&As. We have the best time. But when it's over,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then there's like 100 people in line to talk to me or hug me,
Boom.
I get my handlers know, like my handlers know, oh, she's got to go, let her take a break and
Yes.
get something to drink. She's been on stage for 2 hours. Or, oh, let her go, grab something to eat. She'll be back out in 5 minutes. And then I go and I literally do all of my anxiety exercises to kind of like bring me
Ground
down. And then
yourself.
you were talking about your baby. Like I have a service animal, Isabella Sunshine. She's in the other room. She's a
Oh, I
4-year-old
want to see
Maltese.
her later.
Okay, I'll get her. I'll definitely get her. She's
Okay.
always on. She's always like ready at the
Always
go,
here.
because she goes everywhere with me, no matter what school, university. If I'm with the Air Force or the Army, like she made a special appearance with the Army where she got out of her bag and she went and like waved hi and then got back in her
Oh,
bag. And I can't do this work without her, because my anxiety, the social anxiety piece, it's not even generalized. I was diagnosed with that forever ago, but this social piece, having to interact with people, I can't deal. I can't function. And so I do all the things. I do all the things. And I'm hyper aware. I still drink, but I'm hyper aware when I'm in social environments. All right, so today we're gonna do this. We're gonna do club soda and lime. And then when we leave, we'll go have a beer and we can
right.
cut it off, because I'm not in that situation where I'm having to self-soothe in whatever capacity. So that's me all day long. And when I tell people, nobody believes me, but I already told you, Allison, I don't give a shit what people think. This is
I
what it is. I'm telling you to
want
help
to get to
you. If
that
it makes
level.
sense, great. If it
I'm
doesn't,
getting
keep
there.
moving.
That's in
Yeah.
my
Oh,
therapy,
girl,
not giving
you'll get there. A crap. Sorry,
but
you'll
that
get there.
social anxiety is real, and people don't, people. I just remember like they'll invite me to a party or a picnic, like, well, don't invite Allison, she ain't gonna come, or this and that and that, and or we was gonna invite you, but and there's no empathy, there's no understanding, and it's like if somebody had I had a broken leg and I couldn't come, and like, oh, that's right, you're on the crutches, honey, this and that. Or, if I'm blind, I need somebody to help drive me. Oh, you can't drive? Oh, okay. I'll come get you. And that's the part that hurts, is that this is real, and like what we're experiencing is real. And so if we're telling you something like, help us, like, tell me, Allison, it's going to be okay. What do you need? How will
Mm,
we get you here? And
wow.
so I think it's important that we talk about this and break it down. I love Erica, this Lakeisha. I need to get to that level where people don't care. Girl, we all do. She said with such assuredness, like she needs to actually like what's that domain? She need to have that domain. I don't give a f.com, honey. That'd be another like little tab on her website, and then she can
Dr.
do
Ivy, do you have
a
that domain
workbook
number?
on how
Got that
we
link?
cannot give a blind da 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 da.
Amen.
I see you. So Angie, you want to say something?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, sorry, because I didn't want to interrupt you, but as I'm listening, Allison, you and I were having a conversation the other day, and this it kind of goes along with what Erica is saying. Erica now has tools in her toolbox. She
Yes.
knows how to calm her anxiety down. She knows what she needs to do. Like she was just saying, she prepares before she goes to a social gathering, and most importantly, she doesn't care what other people think. But
Right.
truly, and that is the most genius, brilliant statement and state of mind that any human can be in, because humans care too much about what other people think. Other people don't have to walk in our shoes. Other people are not walking in our shoes. Other people shouldn't be judging other people first and foremost, right?
They can't help it though.
They cannot help it because
well, Angie, let me say to that it's not easy. Like I say it like it's no big deal, but
Right.
but that's because this has been a part of my character for a while now. It
Right.
took many years, like decades, to get here. So I don't want to come off very, cavalier or nonchalant. That's not the case at all. I put a lot of work into getting to that specific place so that I could then get in front of other people and share my story. Like I had to do the work to be able to do the work.
Yeah.
So it's not, and then when I also say it's so much freaking therapy, like that
Right.
also is what really helped me understand what was holding me back from being this very like outspoken, outgoing person as it relates to mental fitness. So that was also like, that took time.
No,
Dr. Ivy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I did, because and Erica opened the door that it seems like it's simple, but it's really not.
It's not.
And what happens is you have that therapy does help you to learn how to retrain your brain. And one of the things that I love, in the therapeutic process is creating what we call new neural pathways of thought, so that you can create a new energy. We have like I tell this story when I used to love to eat a bunch of donuts and everything, which I finally retrained my brain. But if I was on the highway and I crossed this little section like exit 7, and I knew that there was a special little bakery on exit 7, and I would just turn off and go get that donut. But then I had to practice retraining my brain to have a different response to that emotion.
Yeah.
And it takes time to do that. You can do it on your own. It's easier to do it, with a clinician or a professional that knows how to help you do that. But it's not easy, like you said. I don't want anybody out there thinking.
I haven't really worked with you, Dr. Ivy, on my social anxiety, or Dr. Gay. I've not even addressed that in therapy. What do we do for social? I mean, we got to go out. We got to be in the world. You don't want to self-medicate. What Dr. Gettings, I just thought about that. Wait a minute. Hold on. What are you diagnosed with, Erica? What are all your diagnoses? Are you want to share that with me? Should I get a pen?
I don't know if she wants to do that or not, but you might.
All right. So initially so some of the diagnoses overlap, and then when I would show symptoms, and they could accurately diagnose me. Like with bipolar, they couldn't diagnose me because that's really hard to diagnose unless you're in crises in that moment. But anyway, initially it was acute depression, which I believe was bipolar depression. And when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and I really understood it, I said, oh, that's the depression. It's not a separate, this is part of, anyway, I told you early onset schizophrenia, which was later it just went by the wayside. Psychosis was very real for me. Those two they can be confusing. At any rate, all of the marijuana ingestion really, I think, attributed to the psychosis during that era of my life. I don't hear voices anymore. And I'm not the one to diagnose myself, but I'm just being very honest with you, and all the research that I've done and all of the myriad of fantastic clinicians and practitioners that I've talked to over the last 2 decades. And then anxiety, generalized anxiety. And then the last diagnosis I got was social anxiety. So and that was about 7 years ago.
That's a lot. Or is that normal, or is that kind of intercross? And then how do we address Because if you can do something with one of them, does it overlap to helping the? I mean, can they all like? Is there something that can help all of it? I don't know. I did EMDR, but that didn't address my social anxiety. I don't
Yeah, no,
know.
I think as far as understanding it from the neuroscience or neurochemical perspective, if you think about the brain as major sections, right? So you have your limbic system, which is really, really plays a huge role in emotional functioning. So when we talk about mood, when we talk about fear or fear response, a lot of those symptoms are linked back to how your limbic system is functioning. So yes, we do see, as Erica mentioned, overlap when it comes to mood symptoms. And a lot of times the diagnostic process, actually, if you are using substances which can impact the limbic system, then now it's a substance-induced mood disorder or a substance-induced psychosis. When you look at it from a neurochemical perspective, we know that there are neurochemicals like serotonin and dopamine that play a role that can cause many different symptoms, but you still have a deficiency, in one neurotransmitter. So some of the medications that we use to treat depression are also used to treat anxiety disorders, because a lot of the research and literature shows that people that struggle with depression and anxiety are struggling with serotonin levels, amongst other things. What I will say as far as the therapy, which I've seen work, and it's amazing when it works. And you mentioned it earlier, Allison, you said, I don't use alcohol, I just avoid, right? So you've got the one person who may say, well, I'm going to just have a drink and maybe that'll calm my nerves, but I'm going to make it to this function, versus I'm just not going. And what I was always taught when I first started learning the basic principles of CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, is that avoidance is the enemy. I heard a speaker say, when our purpose becomes avoidance, our life becomes a void. So the more you avoid, the more you teach your brain, this is something for me to be afraid of. So essentially, you're reinforcing the fear. Wow. You're saying, my feared stimulus is, I'm going to go in a room and I'm going to say something and someone's going to think that it was the dumbest thing that they ever heard. Meanwhile, this is a belief that you've come up with in your head before you even made it to a function. So we know it's not.
I already planned everything first. I plan it out in my mind. I'm gonna slip and fall. Some guy's gonna talk to me. My breath gonna be kicking. I don't know. I'll just say whatever.
Correct, but they all kind of fall under that umbrella of I'm going to be perceived negatively, or something's going to happen where a person may not like me. I'm going to be rejected. I want to piggyback to even last week when we talked about the brain break and heartache, and we talked about the pain that we feel from rejection in romantic relationships. It could be the same way in social situations. And I do believe to some extent we are hardwired to prevent those types of experiences. But some people, depending on how their brain works, there are scans that show that people who have severe social anxiety disorder, their amygdala is larger and way more active. And your amygdala is just think of the amygdala as your girlfriend.
I'm getting this. This is good.
Huh?
I said, this is good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll be forgetting I'm doing a show. I'm like,
think about your amygdala as the part of your brain that recognizes potential danger. So when it works well, your danger perception is what we consider rational, right? Like, okay, well, I'm gonna put my seatbelt on because I might get in a car accident, or whatever the case may be. You need that for survival. Think about it. If I walk out in the street and my amygdala is not working and a bus is coming, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to sense that as a potential danger. So you need your amygdala. But on the flip side, if you have an overactive fear center, right, you start to create scenarios in your own mind of what might happen before you even get there. The other piece of it that I want to say is how we're raised and how our initial social interactions play out in our life, right? Did you grow up with someone telling you, well, that's stupid, what you just said was dumb? There are so many things that we take in, that we hear in our environment growing up, right? And I want to drive this point home, because a lot of children and teenagers who I see who have social anxiety also were rejected in their home, if you will, right? Certain, or it could be a parent that's hypercritical or over controlling, or I can't believe you're going to wear that, or you're going to make yourself look dumb. Like, how many of those messages did you hear and then internalize, and now that's become your own inner voice? Okay,
got it.
That piece of it is huge. You got to look at environment, neurology, genetics. Everything plays a role when you look at social anxiety and its roots.
Amygdala. You say amygdala.
Amygdala. Amygdala.
Amygdala.
No,
And when that amygdala, when it gets stressed, is what Dr. Gettings is talking about. And I think I like to say, okay, so we hear all of that, but how do I get in touch with it? How can I tune in to the anxiety, emotional feeling that's in my body? Because when it comes, it's like a surge, particularly in the morning. And so I like to help teach people how to speak to your body organs, how to speak to your cellular structure. And when you feel it coming on, don't ignore it, tune into it. And then this is where you learn deep relaxation skills, where you can literally tell your brain to tell the parts of your body to let go. And when you do that, it becomes a ritual and a practice. So when you feel that surge coming in, you have to stop, just like we do when it's traffic stop time. You have to stop. And then you start retraining your brain to your response to the swelling of the feeling of anxiety.
Yes.
And so you have to learn, and you start with learning how to breathe. You start with telling your heart to slow down. You start with being able to just let go of every muscle in your entire body and completely go limp, and breathe until it passes.
And
I'm gonna try. I mean, I get an invite. I'll go in my inbox right now, and somebody invited me to speak somewhere, or somebody wants me to be on a panel, and I just reading the email, I'm already like, no, I can't make it. I'm on, and I really got to stop. You guys know I don't even go out. Like, you guys have been trying to get me to go out. My therapist told me she's gonna pick me up. I've got to leave the house, so I need to really make that a priority to work on my social anxiety. Because
can I speak to something too? Because just what Dr. Ivy said when she gave the analogy about the donut, she didn't say that she stopped getting in her car and going wherever she was going to avoid getting off and getting the donut. She said she had to train her brain to do something differently when that desire arose, right? So the only way that I've been taught, honestly, to really help with social anxiety outside of any supplements that help calm down the central nervous system, because as soon as your brain recognizes something as fear or as a potential danger, then you're going to release all of these neurochemicals, cortisol, that's going to make you feel panicked, your heart rate is going to go up, etc. As long as you continue to say that is something to be afraid of, your body will agree with you. So I always encourage people to rank what is your anxiety level with certain social situations. Are you more anxious with giving a speech in a room or going to a bar and talking to a stranger? Whatever the case may be, you start to rank those things, and you have to expose yourself on some level, and you don't flood yourself with the most feared thing. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I have social anxiety. The only reason I'm on this show is because I have social anxiety. To be real with you, that's why I met Erica Kendrick, because I reached out to someone who I really trust, let them know that I really wanted to speak and get over that fear. And God has blessed me with all these opportunities to do so. But I mean, at the end of the day, it takes exposure. If you always say no, if you don't start somewhere, and then the other piece, you have to challenge your belief system. Why do you believe that your breath gonna stink when you go outside? You one of the most clean people I know, Allison. So where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that your breath is gonna stink?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that you're gonna say something stupid. Like, you have to challenge those thoughts in the moment and recognize that that is coming from somewhere, and really try to figure out, why is that your narrative in your head? Why is that what you believe is going to happen when you go outside? Me, it was, I'm going to say something stupid. If you're standing up, and that's a common, negative thought in that situation. I'm going to say something dumb. The audience is going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. I thought she was a doctor. I thought she knew what she was talking about. And
Right.
so now humiliation, shame, and all the rest. Okay. It's never happened, but I can't tell you how many times I was afraid.
Isn't that?
I remember when I asked you to sit in for me,
and
and you had
hell to the no.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, excuse me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a break. Dr. Gettings is the bomb. She's gonna cover for me. And she went, my armpits are profusely sweating because you said that. I am in the bed with a headache. No, effing no. I was like, oh, okay. Do you need to get processed? I'm sorry, but yeah, I got a little emotional because I have been like locking myself up, and people don't understand. They see me. A lot of people know me. I started thinking back, when I produced I produced this festival, and the most important thing I would order is a trailer. Even though I'm producing one of the largest festivals in Chicago, everybody knows me. I had to have my trailer because I would sit in that trailer the whole 4 days over the weekend. And now looking back, in this space now of mental health and us analyzing and walking through it and navigating, I thought that was cool. And I'm good, everybody, y'all. And call me on my headphones or my walkie-talkie. But I isolated myself in the trailer while everybody was out there dancing, watching the concert and everything. You will find me in the trailer. What are you going to say, Erica? We can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. How did you mute yourself? You're muted, Erica.
Automatically.
And I see you, Lakeisha. I'm seeing everybody's comments. I love you, Allison. I want to meet her one day. Oh, thank you, Lakeisha and Jenny. I've been working way too much and let me see some of these comments. I've been working way too much and haven't taken any time to rest and recoup. Hearing Dr. Ivy's new album brings deep peace and bring down my stress level. Oh. Thank you, Jenny. So many comments. I see you, Ashley. The way this is a blessing to me. And I think you said something else earlier. I'm not seeing the comments, or they're coming. I'm sorry. But Erica, I'm sorry, you were going to say?
No, that's all right. I was going to say that it's a tremendous miracle. It's nothing short of a miracle that you can even do this and be of service to so many people. But what I wanted to add to, in terms of solutions, no matter what you decide to do to combat the social anxiety, start small. That's the one thing I wanted to say. Just start small. No matter if you're working with a clinician, a therapist, if you're working with a psychiatrist, if you're medicated, or like whatever it doesn't matter what the situation is. When you decide to step out there, just take baby steps. That for me was the game changer, because I was like, I got to get over this. I got to get out there. I got to do it. And then I fell on my face. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah. And I stepped back and retreated, and I didn't want to try again after that. So then, over time, I realized, take the smaller steps, and then we can have the small successes that add up to the big ones. That's just a key for anybody. Some of y'all said this is blessing y'all, or how much this is meaning, and how one woman said,
a lot of people are loving you. So like, she said, "Oh my God, you're going to make me cry, Erica." Like you're really affecting a lot of people,
because so many people feel like they're going through this kind of crap by themselves, like they're all alone in this, and we're just not. We're just not. I mean, Dr. Gettings said she has social anxiety. That's like, what?
No, I'll rebuke that. No, I'm going to rebuke that
because she's human. Because she's human.
Yeah, she's human. But Erica, it was such an honor to have you. Tell
thanks
us
for
about
having
where
me.
we can find you. Tell us what you have coming up. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on, so give it to us.
Okay, sure.
I
I'm
mean, where
on
are you going
social.
next? You're getting ready to start your tour and
So I'm on, first of all, like they can find me today on social. So I'm on all
okay,
the
so let's
socials.
see how to get in touch with Erica. Let's go.
So Erica
You can
J.
find
Kendrick.
Erica
Erica
Kendrick,
J. Erica J.
who moved
Kendrick.
my
Yep.
happy at gmail.com, or you can find her on Facebook at Erica J. Kendrick or Instagram at Erica J. Kendrick. She has been such an honor. I definitely, Erica, want to be. I'm not kidding you. You think I'm playing. I want to go with you where you going, girl. I feel like I can actually feel confident. Like I won't be scared. I won't be
I believe
scared with you. I just
I
feel
believe
like,
that.
you've
I
got more
believe that.
years in the game than me, honey. You're like my shero for real.
Yes.
And every time we do this show and we have people come on here and tell their truth in that's why we call it the brain truth. When you're authentic and you can just speak it. Look at how many people are here. Yes, Francie, that's one of our brain gang. Thank you, ladies, for the healing transparency. Yes,
You're
and
welcome. You're
please bring
welcome.
Erica back. You got this, queen. Love and light. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
But
I'll come
yeah,
back
everybody,
anytime. I'll come back anytime y'all want to have me.
you
In
heard
terms of
that?
what's out there, so we got the You Move My Happy workbook. This is on my website and Amazon. My website is my name again, ericajkendrick.com. And then we talked a little bit about this in the bio. So these are my two kids' books. So this is the book
My
that's out
goals.
now. It's in bookstores and Targets and Barnes and Noble, Amazon, all that good stuff. And then this is the early edition of the new book, Cookie Monsters.
Cookie
This one comes
Monsters.
out in January, but the pre-order is available now. So in this one, the main character, who's 12, has severe anxiety.
Wow.
And the editors and the publishers, so my publisher is Little Brown. I got to shout them out because they were like, run wild on the page with the mental fitness. I was like, are you sure? And they were like, yes.
Yes.
So I got to put actual therapy sessions with the main character on the page. So as kids are
Unbelievable.
reading what she's dealing with, they're actually getting the tools themselves, like the literal things that I have to do when I walk off stage and take a beat, like they're in the book. So that's exciting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So,
We're going to
you know,
put your link, actually, Chris. We're going to add that link. My technical producer who's backstage, we're going to put your link on our website. We're going to
oh,
definitely
that's
connect the
awesome.
brain truth so that
Oh,
people can
thank
continue
you.
to get those sources because you have so many resources.
Y'all,
So
thank you so much. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so
It's
much.
a pleasure being here.
Give us your 1 minute, starting with you, Angie. Give us your 1 minute brain buffet. What do you got? What do you got?
Okay, so my brain buffet tip of the day is to consume more B vitamins, but specifically vitamin B1. Well, vitamin B1 and B12, I would say that they're like, partners in crime, but vitamin B1 is very calming to your nervous system. It helps with the brain and your mood and your sleep and fatigue and appetite and everything that goes along with counteracting anxiety, social anxiety, and all that goes along with that. So one of the greatest foods that I like to recommend to people, and I eat myself on a daily basis, is nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is a vegan product. It tastes like cheese. It looks like cheese flakes. It's kind of different from, many people don't even know about it, but it is jam-packed with
It is
B vitamins.
delicious. I put it on my popcorn to make it taste
Yes,
cheesy.
yes,
And they came out with nutritional yeast that tastes like cheddar cheese
yes,
and apple cider vinegar and
yep,
dill.
yep.
Girl, it's the
Yep.
business.
It's
Business.
delicious. I sprinkle it on my salads. I put it on everything because I love the flavor so much. And it's jam-packed with all these B vitamins. It's a win-win situation. And it's vegan if you're vegan.
There you go. Dr. Gettings, give us your brain biology for the day.
Well, just to recap, when we're talking about anxiety, remember your limbic system, but specifically the structure in your brain that's known as the amygdala. That's AMYGDYLA. I invite our audience to read about it, learn about it. It serves so many great purposes, but for some of us, it can cause more anxiety than there is due. So educate yourself about your brain function and your brain structures.
Dr. Ivy, what do you got for our brain balance?
So the brain balance that comes today is about meditation. It is about transcendental meditation. It is about sonic meditation. It's about finding your center, being still, breathing, and spending at least 15 minutes a day, whether it's 3 minutes in the morning, afternoon, and evening, or all at once. Do the time to allow your brain to rest with meditation, and also supplements like the cortisol manager that helps to maintain and normalize and balance cortisol in the night. And I leave you with one last thing: love yourself just like
Yes.
I love you.
I love you too. Love yourself. That is another episode. And guess what, everybody? That wraps up Mental Health Awareness Month. We're done. We're done. Yay! Thank you guys for another episode. Thank you guys for being here. So next week, tune in to The Brain Truth at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard here at thebraintruth.com or anywhere you find your podcasts. And we just want to say thank you to Erica. Erica, you are a joy. You were an amazing guest. Dr. Getting, she had it right. You knew the assignment. And I was just I'm very humbled. I got a little teary-eyed because it's like, that's the place that I'm going. That's the place that we're going. She's out there doing this work. And I'm just humbled to stand before people that are out here walking the same walk, because there's enough room for all of us to exist. And the more of us that come forward, I've seen a lot of people like Franzi and other Brain Gang and all you people making those comments and being transparent along with us, the Brain Joes. Join us in this movement. Let us know how we're doing. If you ever want to be a guest on the show, you have an idea, go to thebraintruth.com. We want to hear from you. We want you guys to continue this journey with us, okay? So let's ready ourselves for the brain bliss. Take a deep breath in and remind yourself, I am a peaceful soul. I am a pure soul. I am capable. I desire to heal. And the power is right here within me. I am open to being authentic. I am open to letting go. Letting go of ego, anger, and attachment. I am open to forgiveness. I am okay. I am perfectly made. I desire mental, physical, and emotional awareness. I desire clarity, calm, and pure mindfulness. I am okay. I will receive love and give love freely. I am open to a deeper connection to Source. I trust in God's assignment, and I will serve. I am okay. I am loved. I am loved. Thank you, Branger. And remember, repair, reclaim, renew. And that's the Brain Truth. See you next week.
Vibrations of love. And some say love is a verb. But much deeper than that, love is a vibration. It is that energy that stirs the soul and opens up the heart. Vibrations of love call out to the divine that connects us with the beauty of life and the oneness of it all. I need not to say it with words, although it is always nice to hear. But greater still is to feel it. Vibrations of love lift me higher, and I fill the empty spaces within the soul. It is the divine in its purest essence. It is me at the height of my being. I am vibrations of love.